Have you ever failed so many times that you started to believe success wasn't meant for you? Maybe you've tried to build something, but every attempt ended in disappointment. Maybe you've knocked on 100 doors, only to hear no every single time. Or maybe you're standing at that point right now, exhausted, defeated, wondering if you should just give up. If you've ever felt like the universe is telling you to quit, then this story is for you. Because once there was a man who failed 127 times before he succeeded once. And that one success changed not just his life, but the lives of millions. Stay with me until the end, because what you're about to hear might be exactly what you need to keep going. In a cramped apartment in a bustling city, there lived a 32-year-old inventor named Daniel Chen. Daniel wasn't born into wealth. He didn't have famous connections or a prestigious education. What he had was a dream to create something that would help people. For 5 years, Daniel had been working on a portable water purification device, something simple, affordable, that could help communities without clean water access, something that could save lives. But Daniel had one massive problem. He kept failing. Every prototype broke. Every pitch to investors was rejected. Every door he knocked on closed in his face. His apartment walls were covered with rejection letters. 23 companies said no. 14 investors called his idea impractical. 5 manufacturers told him it couldn't be done, and his prototype had failed quality testing 49 times. When people asked, "Daniel, how's your invention going?" he would force a smile and say, "Getting closer." But inside, he was drowning in doubt. His older brother, a successful accountant, would visit and say, "Daniel, you've tried for 5 years. Maybe it's time to get a real job. You're 32, you have no savings, no career, just failed experiments." His mother, worried about his future, would gently suggest, "Maybe you should apply to companies. Use your engineering degree properly." Even his girlfriend of 3 years had left him 6 months ago, saying, "I can't watch you destroy yourself with this impossible dream anymore." Daniel sat alone in his apartment every night, surrounded by broken prototypes and rejection letters. The weight of failure pressed down on him like a physical force. He whispered to himself, "Maybe they're right. Maybe I'm just delusional." But every time he decided to quit, he would remember the news story that started it all. A village where children died from drinking contaminated water. That memory would ignite something in his chest, and he would try again. One more prototype, one more pitch, one more attempt. Failure number 98, 99, 100. On a cold Tuesday morning in November, Daniel opened his laptop to check his bank account. $247 remaining. 5 years of savings gone. He had 1 month's rent left. No job, no prospects. And that morning, he had just received his 127th rejection, this time from the last investor on his list. The email was polite but crushing. "While we appreciate your passion, we don't see a viable market for this product. We wish you the best in your future endeavors." Daniel closed his laptop slowly. He looked around his apartment, 5 years of his life, compressed into this tiny room full of broken dreams and failed attempts. He stood up, walked to his workbench, and picked up prototype number 127. He held it in his hands, this thing that had consumed his entire adult life. And for the first time, he felt nothing but exhaustion. "I'm done," he whispered. "I tried. I really tried, but I'm done." He placed the prototype in a box sealed it with tape, and wrote on top, "Final version, November 2019. That afternoon, Daniel updated his resume for the first time in 5 years. He applied to 3 engineering jobs at companies he had once vowed never to work for. Safe jobs, boring jobs, but jobs that would pay the rent. He felt something inside him die, not dramatically, but quietly, like a candle running out of wax. That evening, there was a knock on his door. It was Mr. Park, the elderly Korean man who owned the small electronics repair shop downstairs. Daniel had occasionally helped him fix things, and they had become friendly. Mr. Park stood in the doorway, holding a small package. "I found this in the hallway," he said. "I think it's for you." But then he noticed Daniel's face, the emptiness in his eyes. "Come downstairs," Mr. Park said gently. "Have tea with me." Daniel almost refused, but something in the old man's voice made him follow. Mr. Park's shop smelled like solder and old books. The walls were covered with repaired electronics and photographs from his life in Korea. He poured 2 cups of tea and sat across from Daniel. "You look like someone who has given up," Mr. Park said calmly. Daniel laughed bitterly. "Is it that obvious?" "I've seen that look before," Mr. Park replied. "I wore it myself many years ago." He stood up and walked to a small plant in the corner, a bamboo shoot in a simple pot. "Daniel, do you know about Chinese bamboo?" Daniel shook his head. Mr. Park touched the plant gently. "When you plant Chinese bamboo, something remarkable happens. You water it every day, you care for it, you give it sunlight, but for the first year, nothing happens. No growth, just soil." He paused, letting the words sink in. "The second year, still nothing. You keep watering, keep caring, but the bamboo stays invisible. Third year, fourth year, the same. 5 years pass, and you have nothing to show for your effort, just dirt and invisible roots." Mr. Park looked directly at Daniel. "But in the 5th year, something miraculous happens. The bamboo shoots up. In 6 weeks, it grows 90 feet tall. Now, Daniel, let me ask you, did the bamboo grow 90 feet in 6 weeks, or did it grow 90 feet in 5 years? Daniel opened his mouth to answer, then stopped. "It grew in 5 years, Mr. Park continued. Those 5 years when nothing was visible, the bamboo was building a root system so strong, so deep, so extensive, that when it was ready, nothing could stop its growth." He sat back down and looked at Daniel with eyes that had seen decades of struggle. "You think you've been failing for 5 years, but I don't see failure. I see roots growing. Every rejected prototype taught you what doesn't work. Every closed door taught you resilience. Every person who said no taught you to refine your pitch. You weren't failing. You were building a foundation so strong that when success comes, it will be unstoppable." Mr. Park leaned forward. "Here's what I learned after 40 years in business. Success is not about avoiding failure. Success is about refusing to let failure be final." He placed his hand on Daniel's shoulder. "You have 2 choices. You can quit now and spend the rest of your life wondering what if. Or you can try one more time, not because you know it will work, but because you know you'll regret it if you don't." Thomas Edison failed 10,000 times before inventing the light bulb. Colonel Sanders was rejected 1,009 times before someone said yes to his chicken recipe. J.K. Rowling was rejected by 12 publishers before Harry Potter became a phenomenon. They all had one thing in common. They tried one more time when everyone told them to stop. Daniel sat in silence, feeling something rekindling in his chest. Not hope. It was deeper than hope. It was resolve. "One more time," he whispered. Daniel walked back to his apartment that night with tears in his eyes. Not tears of defeat, tears of determination. He opened the box he had sealed earlier. Prototype 127. His final version. Not final, he said aloud. One more time. But this time, something was different. Daniel wasn't working from desperation. He was working from experience. 5 years of failures had taught him things no textbook could. He knew exactly which materials wouldn't work, which designs had fatal flaws, which manufacturing processes were too expensive. Every failure had been a lesson, and now those lessons came together like puzzle pieces. At 3 a.m. on a Thursday morning, 3 weeks after his conversation with Mr. Park, Daniel made a modification to the filtration membrane. It was a small change, almost invisible, inspired by a failed prototype from 2 years ago. He ran the test. The device worked. He ran it again. It worked. He ran it 15 more times. It worked every single time. Daniel sat on the floor of his apartment, holding the device in his trembling hands, and cried. 5 years, 127 failures, countless rejections, relationships lost, savings depleted, and finally, it worked. He sent a video demonstration to one final investor, someone he had contacted a year ago, who had been polite but uninterested. This time, the response came in 48 hours. "We need to talk. Are you available tomorrow?" That meeting led to funding. That funding led to manufacturing. That manufacturing led to distribution. 18 months later, Daniel's water purification device was being used in 47 countries. It had provided clean water to over 2 million people. The company was valued at $120 million. But when reporters asked Daniel about his overnight success, he would smile and say, "It took me 5 years and 127 failures to become an overnight success." Daniel visited Mr. Park's shop with a gift, a framed photograph of a village in Kenya where his devices were saving lives, and a handwritten note. "Thank you for teaching me about bamboo. I finally grew my roots." Mr. Park hung it on his wall and simply said, "I always knew you would." My friend, Daniel's story is not just about inventing a water purifier, it's about you. It's about every person who has tried and failed, every person who has heard no so many times they started to believe it, every person standing at the edge of giving up. Here's what I need you to understand. First, failure is not the opposite of success. Failure is part of success. Every no is practice for the yes that's coming. Every setback is teaching you something essential. You're not failing. You're learning at a pace most people will never endure. Second, the bamboo doesn't grow for 5 years, then suddenly appears. It's growing the whole time. You just can't see it. Your efforts are not wasted. Your work is not invisible. You're building roots, and when your breakthrough comes, it will be unstoppable because your foundation is unshakable. Third, the only real failure is quitting before your breakthrough. You have no idea how close you are. Daniel was one prototype away from success after 127 failures. What if he had stopped at 126? What if he had stopped at 100? Every person who succeeded did so because they tried one more time when it seemed impossible. So here's what I want you to do. If you're facing failure right now, if you're exhausted, if you're thinking about quitting, I want you to ask yourself one question. What if my breakthrough is one more attempt away? Not 10 attempts, not 100, just one more. Choose to try one more time. Refine your approach with what you've learned. Apply the lessons from your failures and take one more step forward. Because the difference between people who succeed and people who don't is not talent. It's not luck. It's not connections. It's persistence. It's the refusal to let failure be final. You are closer than you think. Your bamboo is growing roots. Your breakthrough is building in the invisible places. Don't quit before the miracle happens. If this story reminded you why you started, if it gave you the strength to try one more time, give this video a like and share it with someone who's about to give up. Let them know they're not alone. Drop a comment telling me, how many times have you failed at something you refuse to quit? Let's celebrate persistence together. Let's prove that the only failure is giving up. I'll be back with another story to fuel your journey. Until then, remember this. Every expert was once a beginner who refused to quit. Every success story is just a failure story that didn't end yet. Your breakthrough is coming. Don't stop now.